이거 발이구나?
If you wouldn't mind, Ruth.
네.
meeting of the Superior Common Council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
President Ledeen. Here. Councillor Van Sickle. Councillor Moffett. Here. Councillor Sweeney. Here. Councillor Fennessy. Here. Councillor Elm. Here. Councillor Ludwig. Here. Councillor Herrick. Here. Councillor Johnson. And Vice President Grasky.
We have a quorum.
Item 4.1 is is the approval of the March 5th, 2024 regular council meeting minutes.
Motions by Councillor Elm. Was there a second? Second was by Councillor Herrick. Is there discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 6.1 is report from Mayor Payne.
Good evening again, councilors. I'll just follow up my previous report. Mind you, Superior Days is coming up very quickly. It is, I believe, that second week in April. I think we've heard from those of you that intend to go to Superior Days, but there are a couple of usual suspects that I've seen at previous Superior Days that we haven't heard from. It would actually kind of help Lindsay Conley up in our office, our Superior Days coordinator, to just give a yes or no. If you've been to Superior Days in the past and don't plan on going, or if you're still thinking about it, just give us a heads up so that we can at least start prepping your travel, or know not to expect you. There's a good chance, counselors, that whether you have been or not, if you're going, you will be drafted to be a lobby leader, though. So just let us know. But again, if you're planning on going, as soon as you possibly can, please let us know that. Tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. is our regular Plan Commission meeting. We will be discussing the business related to the Nemadji Trail Energy Center. There are 3 points of discussion: a rezoning, a street vacation request, and an amendment to the city's comp plan. Those will be actual votes from the Plan Commission to issue a recommendation or not. So if you're interested, please attend. As I did the last time we discussed this, I'll likely invite counselors to sit on the dais, and as a member of the parent body, you'll have extra debate privileges, but the Plan Commission will set those rules tomorrow. For the most part, I expect it to go pretty similar to how our last big discussion on that plant went. I don't have much else from me except I wanted to invite up the newly elected this year mayor of Duluth. He's visiting us, and I invited him to introduce himself to the Superior City Council. Welcome, Mayor Reinert. There's a button right in front of you. It looks like a person speaking. There should be an arrow. There you go. Thank you.
Got it? All right, thanks. Mayor Payne, thank you. Councilors, thank you. One of the things, Roger Reinert, the new mayor in Duluth, and one of the things that I've been prioritizing in the first little bit that I've been in office is going to visit our near neighbors. You know, we're a region. We thrive together as a region. And what I said to Mayor Payne, and he's been gracious enough to already come over and visit and have a good conversation, is in Duluth, we can sometimes just sort of expect everyone to come to us since we're the big city in the region, and that's not what I want to be setting as my spirit of cooperation and partnership in the early days of office. So have met with the councils of all our near neighbors, have had a chance to meet with our county board, met with your county board chair. We didn't go canoeing like I know the mayor and he did recently. But again, I don't come with an ask or an agenda other than just to say hello, let you know that Duluth is interested in being a good partner and in being a thriving center within our region of northeastern Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin. And I should also note, we're incredibly excited to partner with Mayor Payne and Superior in the new Blotnick Bridge that we've got coming. I mean, that's going to be so critical for our communities in terms of working together and in terms of all of that cross-border commerce and your residents that work in Duluth and our residents that come over here and work in Superior. So thank you all. I appreciate the opportunity to say hello. Mayor Payne, thank you for the time.
Of course. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We can move on.
Item 7.1 is the business of the Human Resources Committee with a special meeting held on February 29th. Is there a report from the chair?
No report from the chair at this time. Thank you.
Item 7.2 is the business of the Public Works Committee with a meeting held on March 7th. Is there a report from the chair?
Yeah, thank you. This is the largest budget that the Public Works Committee has ever recommended to this council, and really proud of this work. So I think we will go, and I'll also say that the sidewalk map for this year, as well as the mill and overlay schedule, we should have very soon to you, and I think that's all I wanted to make sure that I got in my update. If it's okay with the clerk, we can read them one at a time. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract with Udine Trucking for landfill daily cover in the amount of $11.55 per ton.
The motion is by Councilor Van Sickle, the second by Councilor Ludwig to approve the Undine Trucking contract. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries. And actually, if you don't mind, Madam Chair, we'll have the clerk read the items as we approve them.
Item 7.2.2 is to approve the 2024 wastewater utility and stormwater utility CIPs.
Motion to approve.
Motion is by Councilor Van Sickle, second by Councilor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 7.2.3 is to award SIPSA's excavating for the Banks Avenue and North 3rd Street sanitary spot repair project in the amount of $46,785.64.
Motion to approve.
Motion is by Councilor Van Sickle, second by Councilor Grasky. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 7.2.4 is to award Visu Sewer LLC for the Belknap Interceptor Cured in Place Pipe Lining Project in the amount of $694,842.50.
Motion is by Councilor Van Sickle, second by Councilor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
7.2.5 is to award Visu Sewer LLC for the Hill Avenue Interceptor Cured in Place Pipelining Kirk Rolson to North 24th Street project in the amount of $909,793.
Motion is by Councilor Van Sickle, second by Councilor Ledeen. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
7.6 is to award Short Elliott Hendrickson SEH for preliminary engineering services for the CSTP 5 and 6 facility improvements projects in the amount of $97,100.
Motion is by Councilor Van Sickle, second by Councilor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
7.2.7 is to approve a contract extension through December 31st, 2026 with Easy Living LLC for maintenance of Tower Avenue, the Roundabout, and Belknap Street.
Motion is by Councilor Ludwig, second by Councilor Van Sickle. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 7.2.8 is to approve the purchase of a 2024 Bobcat Tool Cat in the amount of $74,523.38.
Motion is by Councilor Ledeen, second by Councilor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries.
7.2.9 is to approve the purchase of a 2023 Ford F-150 Lightning with a Tier 2 charging system in the amount of $72,523.
Motion is by Councilor Dean, second by Councilor Grasky. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
7.2.10 is to award Northern Wisconsin-based Engineers Incorporated, NWBE, for Phase 1 of the Hammond Avenue reconstruction project in an estimated amount of $533,559.
Motion is by Counselor Ludwig, second by Counselor Ledeen. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries.
Item 7.2.11 is to approve the cooperative agreement between the city and SWLNP for Phase 1 of the Hammond Avenue reconstruction project.
Motion is by Counselor Ludwig, second by Counselor Elm. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries.
7.2.12 is to award James Pearson Sons Incorporated with a construction contract for the Hammond Avenue reconstruction Phase 1 project in the amount of $5,803,115.01.
Motion is by Counselor Ludwig, second by Counselor Ledeen. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
7.2.13 is to award Hartel's Disposal LLC for the 2024 to 2029 residential recycling collection contract.
Motion is by Counselor Grasky, second by Counselor Elm. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
7.2.14 is to award the 2024 pavement marking services to Sir Lines a Lot in the estimated amount of $101,911.53.
Motion is by Counselor Ledeen, second by Counselor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries.
Item 7.2.15 is to approve the 2024 hot mix asphalt proposals.
Motion is by Counselor Ledeen, second by Counselor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Hearing none. Oh, I'm sorry, Counselor Sweeney.
This is a generic question. Of all these we're awarding today, how many of them received more than one bid?
Many of them.
Many? Most?
Many of them. Most, yes.
All right, thank you.
Yes, we got a long list of bidders this round.
Is there any further discussion on the hot mix asphalt proposals? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries.
And 7.2.16 is to approve the purchase of refined concrete pipe for the culvert on 39th Avenue East from County Materials Corporation in the amount of $48,862.
The motion is by Counselor Ledeen, the second by Counselor Ludwig. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries. That concludes the Public Works Committee business. Counselor Van Sickle, do you have the total amount that we just approved?
Just more than 18 million.
She didn't have her mic on. It was just more than 18 million, making it, I believe, one of the most expensive Public Works Committee meetings we've ever had. Thank you for your patience approving all of those one by one. As contracts, it's just a little bit more comfortable for me to know that they got direct approvals before we sign what is definitely a very large amount of money. Thank you. We can move forward.
Item 8.1.1 is the business of the Tourism Development Commission with a meeting held on March 6th. Is there a report from the chair?
Not much to report, as this was our only item on the meeting agenda. But I guess I would just like to make a motion to approve the recommendation, if you would like to read that.
That is a recommendation to approve a contract with Mize Agency and Charlie Behrens as president of Crepes Incorporated, a Wisconsin corporation influencer, for a marketing campaign at an amount not to exceed $120,000.
The motion then was by Counselor Grasky, the second by Counselor Ledeen. Is that correct? Discussion. Counselor Moffett.
Can we get some background information about this from the committee? I'm not sure this is something we've done before, so I'd like to hear a little bit about it.
Yeah. So essentially, this person that we are collaborating with or working through to have a contract with is a national influencer. Their outreach is around 8.5 million people. Is an extension beyond the Gotta Be Superior current marketing campaign. As more of this comes to light, it'll be about a 90-day campaign, which is normally around a campaign that we would run. Though the number looks high, I would say that with the amount of reach that we would be reaching, let alone for our city, and the exposure we would get, it'd also be a great benefit for the state of Wisconsin. And as far as that goes, it'll basically entwine with marketing videos, product placement, things like that. That's really unclear, as the artists will have to create those things, will be part of that vocal process. So we're obviously not going to be getting a product that we don't agree with. But first and foremost, we would like to pass this campaign amount so we can get started on that process. So if there's any other questions beyond that, I'm more than happy to answer.
Councilor Moffett, you have no more questions for now? Okay, thank you. Councilor Johnson.
Yeah, I think the one part that maybe I could add to that is Councilor Grasky mentioned that it goes above and beyond the swim contract. We're kind of doing this without swim's services because those are billable services. So in the long run, it was cheaper for us to do this as a commission versus hiring swim to take that over. If you've seen in the packet, there are lots of background information about Charlie Behrens and his work. We had some discussion about, I guess I'll steal Councilor Sweeney's words from last night's HRC meeting. How do we measure the success of this expenditure? And I think that it'll be easily measured by the rooms tax dollars being spent wisely to increase that awareness of Superior.
I have just two questions myself. I think I'm up to speed on this, but maybe Councilor Grasky can answer my questions. Mm-hmm. The council might have some similar questions. First, this is a not to exceed amount, and did I hear you correctly say that the city, or I imagine the Tourism Commission, will be approving content before we're billed for that content?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. This is just, it's, when you work with a national act, if you will, this is a package form. So I can't exactly tell you what this person will be creating because that depends on what the content will come out after this. But yes, as far as I understand, we have, we will be working with this person. This isn't just giving this to somebody to go and do what they think. We are a part of that creative process.
Thank you. My second question is, who is Charlie Behrens?
He is a comedian slash. He started off with a show called Manitowoc Minute. He was actually here about 3 weeks ago performing at the Deck. He has podcasts, social media presence, whether that's short clips. Essentially, a comedian that takes the energy of Wisconsin and transforms it into an approachable, laughable product that I think it'd be nice to see Superior get a heart of it. Also, personally, it's what we understood. I was actually at the conference for tourism last week, and we were visiting with Travel Wisconsin, and they had mentioned that he has never done anything like this with a city per se. So that's the first for him and a first for us, obviously. So I think that's a huge win when it comes to the new development of what we've been doing with tourism and investing wisely and waiting and kind of, reaching the third year. I think this is a good time to press in and lean into our product that we've built and be able to build from that as well, from the expertise of the commission. So
thank you for that. I promise I knew who he was. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
I just assumed everybody did, but I guess not. So
Councilor Sweeney.
That spurred a thought to me. Are we paying for creation only, creative, and then we're going to buy the media wherever it's going to go?
Yeah, I mean, we're relying on the expertise of this artist and his management team. They would produce the material that would be promoting the city of Superior. To where that's going, we don't know that yet.
Okay, let me rephrase the question.
Mm-hmm.
Are we paying him for the creative portion of it all?
Mm-hmm.
We'll go out and buy the media, whatever the media is.
Yes, we're paying him to create and to promote and to place as is.
Okay.
So let's, like when I mentioned earlier, he has 8.5 national, maybe international followers over his social media platform. So Facebook, Instagram, things like that. So if we're investing this amount of money to reach 8.5 million people, that runs a campaign for 90 days, I think we will start to really see some major, emphasis looking at Superior, Wisconsin. I think that's the spirit of what we're doing for that commission.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Johnson.
I lost what I was going to say, so.
I have another question regarding social media use. So, Mr. Behrens will, after the content's created and approved, Mr. Behrens would post it on his own social media. We would certainly be allowed to post it on the city's social media. But, I mean, this is basically open source content. Anybody could share it, post
Absolutely.
it, talk about it.
Yep.
Correct? Okay.
Yep.
Which is, that's the goal. We want that, correct?
Correct. I think that, how we communicate now, just worldly, city-wise, however we are as people, that it'll be, yes, there's parts of that people will share, and it'll just have its own organic ripple effect, if you will, more or less. But for us, it's a really charged campaign for that short period of time, which is this is pretty normal for this type of influencer. I think it's just going to reach a lot of people and be a really huge stepping stone for exposing the beauty of Superior and kind of getting us known in the state of Wisconsin, truly. So,
Councilor Fennessy?
I don't mind the idea of this. It's the 120,000 that, and I know it's coming from the hotel motel funds, but when I look at the contract, it says that unless I'm misunderstanding the contract, but for 120,000, he's going to produce 2 pieces of unique content and 4 photos and 4 15-second short videos.
correct. That's 10 items.
So he's going to do 10 things, 15 seconds. Well, 4 of them are photos for 120,000, and we think we're going to get our money's worth out of that.
Well, it's not. I can't technically say that he's only going to post it one time, and over those 90-day periods, those things might be used multiple times, us using those as well. It's content driven to also build the Gotta Be Superior brand if we decide to go in that direction. The creative process will come after this, if we do approve this amount as a council. It's kind of hard. I don't want to say it's hard to answer those questions necessarily, but we're relying on this artist to know and come forth and understand the city of Superior and relying on their popularity and the amount of influence that they already do have. I understand the number looks large for the period of time, but at the end of the day, we're getting 10 items to produce over 90 days to build, how do I say this, exposure to the city, to be able to promote in the tourism side of it. People coming here to visit, stay the night in hotels, use our Airbnbs, go to our restaurants, our businesses, enjoy our natural resources, start to put Superior on the map as we sit very different in other parts of the state that are promoted. I think it's a good lean into, somewhere where we've probably wanted to go in many years, just knowing the city of Superior and its benefits. But, we have great amenities here that I think people would want to come and see and visit. And that's why hiring him with his influence, I think we can get really into something that we haven't been into before.
I guess maybe I wasn't clear with my question. We celebrate that he's got 8.5 million followers. He's got all the influencers. There's no denying that, but that doesn't do us anything if it's not him putting this material out to his 8.5 million followers. If all he's doing is promoting or giving this content to us, I think we've got 120 followers on our Gotta Be Superior page.
He is going to be promoting it on his pages.
And I guess that's where I'm missing that in the contract. Is it says he's going to produce all this stuff, but I'm missing where he's going to throw this out to his 8.5 million followers.
So, Counselor, Section 3 deliverables says influencer to deliver 2 pieces of unique content centric with the City of Superior. Influencer shall natively post content on each of influencers' accounts with TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, and access the core focus and amplified via Facebook and Instagram stories for each release, as long as they remain lawfully accessible. So it's right there in deliverables. He will post it on his platforms.
The way I think the commission understands it is that it's a blending.
Just a moment, Councilor Grass. Okay. Keep the floor with Councilor Fennessy.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Councilor Elm.
Thanks for the commission working on this. Charlie is a quirky person, and I think the notoriety that it will bring to the city, especially from the mid to southern part of the state, will be incredibly valuable. I think for the councilors who are used to traditional media models, this is also paying for the the broadcast of that content that is created too. So if that helps clarify the others who maybe are used to more traditional models, this is something we haven't done before. I haven't been to that meeting, but I understand the concept of what's happening here, and I think this could be pretty valuable.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your work on that. So
Thanks. I think we agree.
Any further discussion? Councilor Moffett?
I think I'll be voting against this tonight. I've been through destination marketing before, and I feel like we should be focusing more on building our destination and building awesome places in our community, both for our residents and for visitors. And I feel like that more natively translates to growth through tourism that way. And so I think the dollar amount is a little too high for me for a experiment like this. When we talk about 8.5 million followers, I think we have to recognize that a lot of those aren't within our target audience. Like, they're not within a drivable distance or people that are going to be thinking about making a stop in Superior. And so the number 8.5 million sounds great, and it will reach those people, but it's not likely that people from other parts of the country or something are going to decide to come just to Superior for that. And so I'd rather see a smaller dollar amount and more of the money put into building our attractions and destination here in the city.
Councilor Johnson?
I think this is also kind of an experiment with the commission spending its money outside of swim. And I was trying to kind of get to that earlier, and I was trying to figure out how to say that. And I think the important piece here is that although this might be an experiment, and I feel like there's some value in it, it will be kind of hard to measure the value of this in the long term, but it could lead to other things such as hiring a band or hiring somebody to come in and perform here in town versus a virtual or social media platform. And so I think this is a good start on seeing how this goes, and so for that reason I'll be supporting this.
Any further discussion? Councilor Fennessy?
Sorry, I just want to clarify the basically like the deliverables in this contract. So in item 3, subsection A, it says that he's going to produce 4 or 2 pieces of unique content, but only post them one time on each aforementioned social media outlet. So he's got 4 social media outlets listed. So he's going to produce 2 pieces of content and throw it out once to each different platform. And then the photos and the other 2 videos were to leverage that on our own social media outlet. So what we get is him posting this on 5 social media platforms, once each, for $120,000.
At least once each is what it says, but yes.
And then with the rest of it, we use that on our own social media channel. So we get it out to 8.5 million people 4 times, 5 times for $120,000. I mean, tell me if I'm missing something here.
Well, it's roughly my understanding that again, I wasn't at that meeting. I've read this contract and I'm rereading it now. That's my understanding of it, that he has to post it at least one time on each of those things. Nothing compels him to post it more than once. We would hope it would get posted more than once, particularly since this would be an innovative business model for him as well as much as for us. But I don't know that the contract, you're right, he need only post it once, and then the content belongs to us after that. I think my understanding of it, I hate to speak, well, no, I'm not going to speak for the commission, and I doubt they'll be voting on this, but if I did, I think I'd be inclined to support it, because I think the hope here, and there's no guarantee of success on this, it is new and innovative, the hope would be that it would get further amplified by the people that are seeing it from his page. So it's going to be viewed, then shared, reshared, with the potential that it goes viral. If this is really the first, other than Manitowoc, the first city he's talking about in Wisconsin, it's a chance I guess I would be willing to take, but that's really what the council's deciding. If the question you're asking, is this worth it, that's the question that's in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, basically $20,000 for each time he posts. $20,000 for Facebook, $20,000 for Instagram, $20,000 for TikTok. But then can you just clarify, you just said you hope the commission will be voting on this?
Did I say that? I don't remember saying that. I don't.
Okay, because I assume this would be going back to the commission. They would be voting to approve this, fine-tune this.
I believe they already approved this, so this is a recommendation. You are authorizing the contract. Their next votes are to approve the individual content.
Okay, and that would be going to...
That goes to the commission, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Councilor Grasky.
I just want to say that within this 120,000, just like we learned when we had to build a brand from nothing, we had to spend more money to build that brand. And so when you're talking about filming, travel, creative writing, that is also folded in within the 120. It's not divided into $20,000 per post. I mean, we're paying for the production of these items or said art within that. I just wanted to make that clear to the council that it's not divided into 5 or 6, and it's not that per post necessarily.
Councilor Johnson.
I think this is my second or third time talking, so I'll make it brief, and this will be my last time. I think the risk here is probably pretty great. We do have some funds available to spend on events like this right now, and so we're trying to be unique in the way we choose to spend those dollar amounts. To be comparative, the swim contract, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, was about $250,000 for a 3-year contract, and $250,000 for each year. In that time, we ran about the same amount of what am I trying to say here? Similar dollar amounts for a similar period of time, although we are paying a premium because of the influencers' reach.
Councilor Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. I just, I'm glad you brought up the point of this celebrity's followers also reposting it. And I think this is no different than the city advertising itself on Discover Wisconsin or Travel Wisconsin. I think this targets maybe a different audience in addition to those maybe older audience. My little Gen Z daughters just went and saw this guy with their dad, and they said he was like dad humor, I don't know, but I think it just hits at just another demographic that is traveling with their families, and I just appreciate the commission's proactive, fresh approach. I think while there's been an extraordinary amount of work through SWIM and all of the ways they've got those wheels rolling, I just appreciate the commission doubling down and being proactive in this work. And I think to Councilor Moffat's point, could you just talk about maybe some of your goals or initiatives that maybe focus more on destination building or some of that, like in tandem with this work?
So I'm going to turn the floor back over to Councilor Grasky as the chair of the commission. Councilor Johnson did remind me of our debate rules right before he broke them. So I'm going to ask Councilor Grasky to speak one more time to answer the question as the chair of the commission. We'll try to keep it to people that haven't spoken before, but I'll still probably be pretty flexible. I don't want to shut down debate too much if we're making progress on this. Councilor Grasky.
So I think within what as we go over analytics, let's say seasonally, summer, winter, how those things measure up, our target markets are more in the southern part of the state where I'm in Lake Geneva last week talking tourism for days and days, and to see the emphasis that southern Wisconsin can put and the reach that they can grab, I see it's a market for us to invest into someone that is very local to them and start to try to drive these target markets up in a different way, a different approach. I don't want to go on and on about trends and bore the room anymore about things that I love very much, but I would really like to see us take a chance and try to really push and lean into these demographics that we have been building in the southern part of the state and put an extra push and putting them up here for the summer, the winter, the fall, things that I think that, we've been pushing for. This is just an extra emphasis, and the commission's job is to take this budget money and use it with the expertise of the commission and then also with approval from this council. And then if this is approved tonight, we go right in the creative process, which you'll all have access to see that. I don't think we want to make mistakes, so I don't think this is something that we're looking to laissez-faire when it comes to putting Superior in a position to not be successful. I think this is just really about bringing people up here to understand the different side of the city, or the state of Wisconsin, whether it's the lake or just what we have inside of the city of Superior. So that's kind of where we're just leaning into the constant demographics that we've been pushing towards to make sure that we're keeping up with that consistency.
Are there any counselors that haven't asked a question nor would like to comment? If not, are we ready for the vote? Try a voice vote first. All those in favor of approving the contract with the Mize Agency and Charlie Behrens, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries in the opinion of the chair.
All right. So at this time, are there any other or further committee or commission reports to be made?
I don't see any. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilor Sweeney.
Thank you. 8.22 is the golf course committee. I'm not the chair of it, but we were at the meeting last week, I believe it was, and golf course had a great year. Okay, and we have a new director, a pro there, and local boy from Superior, and he's all enthusiastic, and we're very encouraged. But the Magic Golf Course had a great year last year, and rounds and in money made and improvements, and so I'll go to my counterpart on the committee if he wants to say anything. But I just want to fill you in and let you know.
Thank you. Any further reports? If not, we can move to new business.
Item 10.1, I am recommending the approval of a temporary Class B beer license application for the Douglas County Historical Society located at 1101 John Avenue for We Stand on Their Shoulders event to be held on March 22nd.
Motion is by Councilor Herrick, second by Councilor Fennessy. Is there discussion? Councilor Moffett.
Please look at the record. Shall be abstain in this event.
The record shall reflect your abstention. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries.
Item 10.2, I'm recommending the approval of an original Class B beer and liquor license application for Alice's Palace LLC located 1108 Tower Avenue for a period beginning on January 1st through June 30th, 2024.
So, councilors, Mr. Nelson is here to address the council, I believe. Yes, I'll ask him to come forward and address the license. There's a button with an arrow there, Mr. Nelson. There you go, perfect.
Good evening. My name is Gary Nelson. I'm new to Wisconsin. I liquidated my properties in a different state and moved to Wisconsin. I purchased Bartley Sales and Service out in South Superior. And I spent 14 years serving in China. And during my time over there, my wife and I, spent a lot of time in the karaoke bars. Not drinking, but more or less singing. She was the one who got this idea of opening a karaoke bar. Well, in Superior, as far as I know, there's a lot of bars, but we're going to make a special one. This one is for old people, not young people, and not bikers and all that rowdy stuff. We want a place where you can sit down and actually talk, have a good conversation, not about politics, because that's always trouble. You got to admit that. But we want to do new things. Now, I don't know if it's legal, but we have to find out certain things. Is beer bingo legal? Where you play bingo, and if you win, you get a beer. I don't know if that's gambling, but there's funny things like this that can attract the older generation. I know I was told that you had a lot of trouble with this place. Well, if I'm there, you're not going to have any trouble, because I don't put up with that kind of stuff. Anyway, if you have any questions, please ask me, and I'll try to answer them for you.
Other questions for Mr. Nelson? Councilor Sweeney.
2 questions. What is the address of that location?
I think it was on the thing there.
It's 1108 Tower Avenue.
1108 Tower.
Okay, okay.
This is the site of the former Palace Bar.
Yeah.
Okay, not South Superior.
No.
So he was referring to the business he owns now,
Right.
Bartley Sales
Okay.
and Service.
And then what is your definition of older people?
Anyone that can consume alcoholic beverage without getting rowdy and shooting guns and going crazy. There isn't, I think you got a 21 age limit anyway, but there's still some people that are strange.
Okay.
They said, how are you going to stop?
Just a moment, Mr. Nelson. Councilor Van Sickle.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Did you purchase the building, and do you have any partners in this business, or any idea about staff or management, or have you worked any of that out?
Well, first of all, I'm not the sharpest marble in the bag, but I wouldn't buy a bar if I can't get a license, see? So I'm waiting to find out your decision. Now let me share something with you. I paid cash for Bartley's. I have over an 800 credit score, and I still have some monies available. I don't think a bank would turn me down if I have to go to that. And so, but to answer your question, no, I didn't buy it yet. You will help me determine if I want to or not.
Councilor Herrick.
Those are some of the same questions, but while I have the mic, I guess. So what did you bring back from China besides the karaoke? I mean,
Jiaozi. But I found out, see, this is all new to me. I have to go through the Department of Food and go through a course. Well, I don't want to do all this stuff if I can't get a license. And then, because right now I've invested quite a bit of money and fees and things like this. So, and I don't mind spending money for helping the city of Superior, and being able to produce a taxable income for you people to invest in Superior is one of my goals. So,
all right, thank you.
So, councilors, I am reasonably optimistic about Mr. Nelson's success. Obviously, this is a very sensitive question considering the past history of the Palace Bar. I'm going to ask you tonight to postpone this for one council meeting so that myself, the city attorney, police chief could have a meeting with Mr. Nelson to confirm some of his plans for the building and maybe make some reasonable conditions that would allow him to move forward with confidence of purchasing them. But one of the conditions I'm going to suggest is that the license will take effect at the point that he closes on the building, so that we can ensure that this would in fact be his building while giving him the security that that he's asking for. Also like to ask just a couple more questions about his plans for the business. Strikes me from his presentation tonight that it would be a pretty significant change. I'd like an opportunity to confirm that. What I'll ask for, of course, it would be at your pleasure, is a motion to postpone until the next meeting. Motion is by Councillor Sweeney, the second by Councillor Johnson. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in, Councillor Fennessy.
Would that delay or throw a wrench in, you know, what you're looking to do by delaying this a couple more weeks?
Well, I've learned never to hurry into things. If you people think it's the best thing to do, I support you 100%. And if you want to talk to me or the police chief and all that, I would highly recommend you to do so. But let me share something with you. In 1976, because you're going to find this out anyway, in 1976, I got a speeding ticket and I was doing 11 miles an hour over the 35 limit. And since then, I've kept my nose clean, and you can check me, and I haven't done anything wrong. I'm a good American citizen, just so you know.
For some reason, I think that this is going to be a significantly different bar than the Palace.
Oh, yes. I'll guarantee you that. It's not going to be what other ones are. And that's what's going to bring all you people in.
Mr. Nelson, I have to return to the
I'm sorry.
Councillor Johnson.
Thanks. I spoke with Mr. Nelson yesterday. I really appreciate you coming in today and answering these questions. I look forward to the success, and I don't think you could get a better free advertisement than your presentation tonight, so I look forward to working with you in the future.
The question is on the motion to postpone. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Shut off.
I got you.
Item 10.3, I'm recommending approval of miscellaneous licenses.
Motion is by Councillor Herrick, second by Councillor Ledeen. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries. We have no further regular business, councillors. We will move into public comment. I will begin with Derek Peterson, please.
That one? All right.
Just a reminder, Mr. Peterson, and all speakers, you are limited to exactly 3 minutes, a rule that I'll have to strictly enforce. I'll give you a warning at the 2-minute and 30-second mark.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Derek Peterson, born and raised in South Range, Wisconsin. I graduated from Northwestern High and took some college courses at UWS until I realized my true calling was the construction industry. In 2008, I joined the Labor's Local 1091. I started my career at Murphy Oil. I was a proud 23-year-old living, working, and spending my hard-earned paycheck back in the businesses of Superior. I bought my first house at 1717 East 7th Street in Superior on the jobs that the city had to offer in the construction industry. I was able to continually make a better life for myself. In 2017, I became a LiUNA business agent. I now fight for projects that put our members to work and create safe and smart developments in the communities we reside in. I strive to give the same opportunities to young women and men in the city of Superior trying to start a family, buy a house, and pay for all the essential necessities we need daily. Let the record reflect I fully support NTEC. Working as a union laborer, I've been part of several great energy projects in my backyard. These projects in my career range from oil and natural gas pipeline maintenance to the installation of power plant upkeep. Opportunities were possible because past and present leaders in our communities understand the need for safer, more reliable energy that made decisions that were best for the city and the region. Some residents have been asking, why our town? Why Superior? I can tell you exactly why. First, everyone knows in 2017, October 15th, the Superior City Council and the mayor passed an unanimous resolution R19-13463 to support NTEC in the city level. Second, earlier in 2019, we brought it down to the Capitol for Superior Days as an agency issue, which I was a part of. In the handout we received, it stated the citizens of Northwestern Wisconsin request support of the Nemadji Trail Energy Center for two state agencies, the DNR and the PSC. The DNR will collaborate with the project on environmental permits and requirements. The project will work with the PSC to general permitting approval of the Nemadji Trail Energy Center as an electrical generating facility. When you support a project and the companies spend millions of dollars on the project in the community After a unanimous resolution, then you turn on your back on it. It's downright appalling. I don't agree with the games being played by the city administration. This for a simple rezone and street vacation. This is a standard practice of the city. The mayor continues to state he stands with labor. This is a false statement. Having told us to tread lightly when it came to the construction of the Cobblestone Hotel, because Superior needs this, or the fire hall debacle. Labor doesn't forget when you toss this aside. There has been more non-union work in the city since I can remember, but by not following your own responsible bidder ordinance. You know what Superior needs? Good paying union jobs with benefits, not the cost of workers for personal agenda. The expansion of the tax base with added jobs for new developments. Who's going to want to come to develop in the town where city council and commissioners flip-flop on decisions? On January 17th, the Superior Planning Commission, everyone is entitled to their opinion. But to use one's leadership, Mayor Payne, to discredit state and federal agencies is not only a misuse of power, but morally wrong.
That is 3 minutes, sir. Thank you. Next is Jackie Ledeen.
We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children, a Native American proverb. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to have the privilege to speak here tonight. My name is Jackie, and I have lived out in South End for almost 14 years with my husband, Nick. Going even further back, I was raised on the north end of town until I was 14. Then we moved out to Bennett, and I learned all about country life. Much of my childhood while living in and out of town consisted of weekends camping at archery tournaments, attending ice fishing contests, and my father teaching me to hunt, fish, and trap. My childhood instilled in me a strong passion for the environment and conserving our natural wonders. My family taught me the philosophy of pack out what you pack in and always leave it better than you found it. Now we have 4 children ranging from 8 to 13 years old, and I want them to have their own memories with family, friends, and just by themselves in nature. Because of this, I believe we need to protect this land and water from the harmful effects of adding a gas power plant to our city. We need to protect it for the future of our children, for our neighbors' children, and everyone living in and around the Northland who use these same resources we would destroy. You can easily find out all of these effects and more online by the sites not bought and paid for by the power companies. We also need to protect those already suffering from health issues like asthma, COPD, and cancer, to name a few. These can be found on the EPA and American Lung Association websites, to name a few. Now, this part is really important. We need to all work together to stop the spread of deliberate misinformation and start bridge building our community back together. Then we can have a better tomorrow for an even greater number of people. I know we can support our trade unions and deny this power plant. It is not only up to our city leaders, but also our community members to see past short-term gains and instead come up with long-term solutions. We have been going in such a great direction with the cleaning up of our city. Let's not make this one single choice that will ultimately set up Superior for a pollution haven instead of a great destination. Let us work together to make a city we can be proud of now, along with leaving behind a legacy others will be proud of. Please do not approve the zoning changes or street vacations to allow this power plant to come into our city. I truly do not believe any of the short-term gains will outweigh the short and long-term harmful effects this will have on both our ecosystem and our community's health. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is Dee Fetters.
The older you get, the slower you get. Good evening, everybody, and here we are again. Thank you again for hearing from us. I want to go through a couple of things, and I'll try to be brief. So let's start with our homes. We work for years and years to pay them off. We have our children. We raise them. We put away money for college. They move away. They complete their education. They get married. They have grandbabies for us. And then we're faced with this. We stand to lose about 11% of our property values if this plant goes through. That's 400 properties within 1/2 mile of this proposed plant. 2,000 residential properties within 2 miles of 31st Avenue East. 7% of their property values gone. Who's going to pay the freight for those losses? Who's going to cover the city's yearly operating budget? We all are. We're going to pay it back, everybody. North End, South End, East End, Billings Park, and a 10% bump to shareholders through utility bill increases. Has the Water, Light, and Power ever raised the price and then brought it down again? No. Every increase they wanted, they got, and they're going to continue doing that to us. The very people you represent are going to pay the piper. Who's the winner here? They are. And we can see who are the losers. It's a matter of economics. Any good business that wants to make money is going to build lean. And if something goes wrong, they're going to kick the can down the road and keep things tied up in court because they've got the money to do so. I learned as a young girl from my dad, who always told me, those that control the money control everything. Once this plant is built, they can do what they want. They can tie it up in court as long as they want to if we complain. It's going to be too late. It's here. In the meantime, we're going to have pollutants roaming around in the air, and they can tell us anything they want to. Paint us a beautiful picture. You know, if it was so great, why aren't other communities saying, pick me, pick me? They're not. We will have this monstrosity here, and we're going to be servicing communities downstate from Superior. Why don't we build it there and pump the energy back to us? These people are schooled in the art of sales. All of them.
30
no
seconds,
disrespect.
please. 30 seconds.
They're smooth talkers and throw in a bunch of stats that we're supposed to take as gospel. Each and every one of us we were voted into office, and your constituents in your districts rely on you. I want to be assured in writing that I love union. How do we know it's going to be union workers from here? When the plant was being reconstructed, I rented to people from out of state.
That is 3 minutes. Thank you.
And they took their money and they went home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark McConnell is next.
Bonjour, Jamaganashi and Nindagash. Namaji one Niji. My name is Mark. I know a lot of you people. I've lived here my whole life. My ancestors were here long before your ancestors got off the Mayflower or whatever ship they got off of. The more I researched this project, the more I came to understand that, and I've heard people say this to me out in the hall and out on the street there, well, you're against natural gas. Well, no, I'm not against natural gas. But even the EPA says that we shouldn't be, you know, they want to take gas stoves out of the home because they say that the pollutants from that harm our children and even older adults. But I'm speaking today for my ancestors that are buried right next to that plant that wants to be built there. They can't speak any longer. They've already been desecrated and moved once. Now where they're at, they're sliding down the hill. But the more I look into this whole thing of this power plant, they talk about natural gas. But the other ones that are in the state already, further down the state, they burn more diesel fuel than they do natural gas because there's 5 to 6 times more BTUs per gallon out of diesel fuel than they got out of natural gas. So when the price of natural gas gets to a point, it's literally more feasible for them to burn diesel fuel. It is what it is. I know the trade unions in this town have had a lot of pull in a lot of different projects, but we keep spending multi-millions of dollars in all of these cleanup sites along the waterfront only to put another polluter on a river. So that's all I have to say. Miigwech.
Thank you. Next is Karen Nevela.
My name is Karen Nevela. I live in East End, close to the NTech site. I never thought I'd be in front here of the City Council, begging for the right to breathe clean air, but here I am. My husband and I moved from the quiet country to the city 14 years ago to be closer to work and to health facilities. We bought a home on 7th Street near 31st Avenue. This was our future retirement home, as at the time we were still working. It was quiet, felt like the country, but still living in town. We enjoy our community and especially our neighbors. Both of us have worked many years in union jobs to afford this retirement home. But this isn't about the union. It's about the health of our community and all of Superior. Our children are our greatest assets, they say, but this power plant will affect the health of our children for many years. This neighborhood is the wrong place for this air-polluting, noisy plant. Our quality of life and health would be negatively affected for all of our close neighbors, all of Superior, and depending on which way the wind blows, even Duluth. The citizens of this neighborhood and city are fighting for the right to a superior quality of life, and this power plant is not it. I have a question for all the council members. Would any of you live here with your family 1/3 mile from a power plant with 3 to 4 years of construction noise, and then hearing the operational noise, the so-called dishwasher noise, all day long for the next 40 years? Would you like to be ground zero to the pollution like we will be subjected to? This was what my family is facing if this plant is built. I would not allow my grandson to visit here for the health as if they build this plant. We would have to sell our retirement home that we worked very hard for and move completely out of Superior.
30 seconds, please.
We would not escape the pollution in any part of this city. Please consider the health, well-being of all Superiorites that are depending on you all to make the right decision and to vote no for NTech. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Pat Kackman. Please correct, if I mispronounce somebody's name, please correct me.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Pat Kackman. You have heard opposition refer to unsafe air pollution around Beloit as a direct result from a natural gas plant located just north of town. The reading they have mentioned are from Purple Air monitors, which are low-cost monitors available for public purchase. What they are not telling you are these monitors were developed to monitor smoke and large air particles, not the fine particles matter that regular monitors are designed for. A quick Google search provides the following. Numerous studies by the EPA, NIH, MDPI, European Geoscience Union, and the Wisconsin DNR, just to name a few, have concluded that Purple Air monitors report much higher concentrations of air pollution compared to regular monitors that are much more expensive, designed to detect fine particles compared to Purple Air monitors that were designed to monitor smoke pollution from wildfires. The Wisconsin DNR published a study in December of 2020 in which they found nationwide comparisons of Purple Air data with data from regulatory monitors indicate that PA sensor data has a positive bias, meaning the sensor typically reports higher particle concentrations than regular monitors. During an experimental period, the Purple Air sensor occasionally reported concentrations that were nearly double those reported by regulatory monitors measuring the same air mass. The study specifically represents smoke and wildfires. In 2022, the National Library of Medicine, which is a division of the National Institute of Health, published a study on the accuracy of Purple Air monitors, concluded that the Purple Air Plant Tower CF1 and CF-ATM algorithms lose an unacceptably large fraction of observations, which result in 53 to 92% overestimated pollutant levels. In an article on July 5th of 2022, by the US EPA. They found that the purple air monitors can often incorrectly estimate pollutant levels compared to regulatory grade monitors. Purple air monitors have been proven clearly reported inflated emission numbers due to this cheap technology that is not designed to detect the fine particles for what we're all looking for here. Thank you.
Thank you. Lee Sandock Baker is next.
My name is Lee Sandock Baker, and I live in the Eloise neighborhood. My husband and I have a 12-year-old daughter. When she had just turned 2, she was diagnosed with a cancerous tumor and a rare autoimmune disease that attacked the lining of her brain and spinal cord. As a mother, one of the first things you ask is if there's anything you could have done to prevent this. The doctors assured me that there wasn't anything I could have done differently. But they did have a handful of things that they said may have contributed, including environmental factors or pollution. According to the National Institute of Health, fine particulate matter that NTEC would disperse into our city's air has been linked to cancer, respiratory issues, neurological disorders, exacerbation of autoimmune diseases, preterm birth, and more. And what really caught my eye is that this fine particulate matter has been found in placental tissue. Our babies are being hurt by this kind of pollution before they even take their first breath. Sorry, I have a cough. On February 21st, the University of Minnesota School of Medicine released a study that found increasing exposure to the fine particulate matter during the birth year increase the risk of developing any childhood cancer. University of Minnesota, just last week, or a couple weeks ago, sorry. We thank the stars every day for how well our daughter is doing now, when everything was in question 10 years ago. If you've experienced similar medical trauma in your family, my heart goes out to you sincerely. Finally, news just broke today that Beloit, Wisconsin is the most polluted city in the United States. Google it. A similar Wisconsin city with a similar gas plant in operation for the past 5 years. We live with pollution from our existing core industries, pollution from traffic. Why do we want to keep piling it on? I'm here to ask you to set the bar higher for Superior, for us, for our children, and for our children's children, our visitors, and potential future residents. Say no to NTEC. Live up to our name. Thank you.
Thank you. Luciana Ranelli is next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Luciana. I am a resident of District 5, and I want to thank you all for coming and sharing your thoughts here and for having us as well. I work in water resources and education, and I am here as a Superior neighbor against the Nemadji Trail Energy Center. I can share from my experience, and today I live and work in Superior. I'm renting an apartment right now, and I want to stay here and hope to buy a house in Superior someday, maybe soon. Some of the reasons I want to stay is that I'm proud of a city and leadership that can learn. I observed the city of Superior return some lands to the Fond du Lac Band of Lake Superior Ojibwe on Wisconsin Point and along the Nemadji River. And while small in the big picture of hurt and erasure over time, it's an incredible move in the right direction. Water and wetlands and forests here, they're beautiful. They anchor a lot of life here, both in food with hunting and gathering, jobs, and just well-being. And I also want to stay because I have a job here and would like to keep it. So why am I a neighbor against NTEC? I'd like air pollution to not play a role in the neighborhood choice that I buy a house in. I trust water and know that it meanders and changes shorelines. And I want to live in a place that doesn't go backwards and that pays attention to the wisdom of Indigenous community members who have seen a place change over time and deserve respect for themselves and their ancestors. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next is Andre Latondra Wilcox.
Good evening. You folks are about to, Andre Latondra Wilcox, South Superior. You folks are about to make a decision that could negatively affect the city of Superior for decades to come. The natural gas plant that is proposed to be built will increase pollution in our city. These pollutants are nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, mercury, and others could be present. Many of these are known to cause respiratory illness, asthma, cancer, and be a leading contributor to acid rain. One of the main talking points of some of these folks is that this is so much more environmentally friendly, and the only way to go green. That is actually something they're marketing this as green. If it is true, then tell me and us, how much will operating this plant in Superior improve Superior's air quality? We all know the answer. It will not. It will degrade our air quality. With that, if this gets built and after $700 million have been spent, do you really believe that they would shut it down if it doesn't meet emissions control? They would not a chance. It'll be spewing pollution for years to come. In an effort to get some folks interested, we've been on social media, and it usually comes to the same conclusion every time. Someone defends the project, calls me a snowflake, and then tells me I'm too dumb to understand. I'm not going to call any of you guys names. We're friends, we're neighbors. This is our home. I'm your neighbor and you're mine. We're on this together. This shouldn't be separating us. I'm confident also in saying that if I were to put all of those pollutants into a glass of water, not a single one of you in this room would drink it. You wouldn't feed your tomatoes with it. You wouldn't feed your dogs with it. I'm also confident in saying, which is something that's sad, is everyone in this room has probably had their lives impacted from disease or illness. Pollution doesn't care who or how you vote. It is an indiscriminate killer. It destroys the quality of life. It destroys wildlife habitats, and it will become what our city is known for, an environmental dumping ground. At this point, we have a chance to do something about it. We did not choose to live next to this volcano. You folks are choosing to put this volcano next to where we live. All of you that are in support of this, what do you gain? A temporary job at the expense of our city's health and well-being? Just think how great the fumes would be when you're out trying to get something at one of our new restaurants. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Please take a moment and ask yourself, why would the Twin Ports Construction Alliance be putting so much money towards this if it was a great idea? Great ideas are ones that benefit everyone, not just some. Clean air is a right to each and every citizen of Superior. You do understand how much they're pushing this agenda.
30 seconds, please.
They're literally dumping money across the border to try and sway our city council. A write-in candidate is running to try and get this approved, and the people of our great city are the collateral damage. The population of Superior is just over 26,000 people. You are the people that we chose to represent us. So if you are voting to move forward with this project, please let us know what the dollar amount of clean air is, the dollar amount of the habitats of our wildlife, and what the dollar amount of a healthy human life is, because we deserve an answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Michael Latondra Wilcox.
Hello, thank you for being here today. I'm going to keep it short because I'm going to try not to repeat too many things that have been said. At the last meeting that I was at, they talked about a 3-mile radius around the proposed spot. And I wanted to list some of the things that are in there. The University of Superior, Wisconsin, Northern Lights Elementary, the Essential Health, Barker's Island, which hosts things all throughout the year that people come to. The Ice Festival, Dragon Boat Festival, 4th of July. Just about the entirety of the Osagie Trail is within that 3-mile radius, depending on where you end it going up the lake. Now, if this was as positive as they said, other cities would want this. It wouldn't be them trying to convince us every day that this is a good idea. It would be other people fighting for the chance to have this in their city. They talk about providing clean energy, but we the people will bear the full weight of all of the pollution that it takes to make that clean energy for everyone else. And it is a fossil fuel, no matter how much they say green or natural, it is the exact same. I know that you have a big decision here to make, and it will affect a lot of people. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to all of us, whether it's something you agree with or not. Thank you.
Thank you. Mitchell Deers is next.
Good evening, Mayor Payne. Good evening, City Council members. I'll be brief in my remarks tonight. My name is Mitchell Deers, and I work for the Northern Mechanical Plumbing Contractors Association. It's a trade association that represents over 100 contractors in our local economy. Those local contractors represent over 1,000 union members. We represent plumbing, mechanical, insulation, sheet metal, roofing, and HVAC. With our local employers hiring the most educated and safest tradespeople, our local union partners, this project will greatly benefit our economy with good paying, long-lasting employment. We ask you to support this project as it has strong support from our contractors and our association. Thank you.
Thank you. Pete Payne is next.
My name is Pete Payne. I was born and raised in Superior. We live on the bank of the Nemadji River, directly across from where this plant will be built. We lived there about 30 years. It's a great place. The people that have spoken before me have done an excellent job explaining why this plant is not an asset, it's more of a liability. I have written a letter to the Planning Commission, which you folks that are on the Planning Commission will hopefully get tomorrow and be able to read. But a couple of points that I don't think were mentioned is one question is, will the labor unions and the contractors lose jobs and profit in the rezoning if the rezoning is voted down? Absolutely not. If this plant is built in another more expensive location, labor unions and contractors will receive more work and more money because it will be more expensive to build in a safer, more healthy location. This is all about location, in my opinion. I'm not against a plant like this in the proper location, but the middle of this city is ridiculous. The engineer that designed this and the people that agreed to putting it on the agenda, I just can't comprehend that they would possibly recommend this same thing in their communities. Another point that I don't think has been touched on here is that who's the future owner of this plant? Who owns it? We know Minnesota Power, a local great company, is the most local and also going to be the manager of this project and is the lead on this project. But Minnesota Power has been negotiating with Xcel Energy, and Minnesota Power will probably be bought by Xcel Energy in the next few years. Additionally, Minnesota Power has committed, and we've all heard it on TV if we watch that, to being energy-free by 2050.
30 seconds, please.
Minnesota Power met their goal of being 30% carbon-free in 2019. For them to be energy-free in 2050, they will sell this plant because it's a carbon-producing plant. And they will probably sell it probably as soon as this plant gets built.
That is 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Please read my letter.
Next is Abby Novinska Lois.
Hi, I'm Abby Novinska-Lois, the Executive Director of Healthy Climate Wisconsin. I'd like you to pause briefly and reflect on someone in your life who is living with an illness or has passed away. How did you feel when they first told you? What mattered to you most in that moment? For me, my health was not something I thought about every day until it was stripped away from me in 2019 when I was diagnosed with a chronic autoimmune connective tissue disease. Suddenly, at age 23, illness became all-consuming. My skin erupted in rashes, bouts of severe dizziness, and painful joints made it difficult to walk even a few blocks. And my vision became too blurry to read well or even drive, preventing me from my hobbies, doing my job, and visiting my friends. I watched the medical bills pile up, and I felt so lost. It took over a year for my care team to find a treatment combination that could alleviate my major symptoms, but my life will never be the same. I still struggle with almost daily headaches, nausea, and skin lesions, and my medications weaken my immune system, making me more susceptible to other illnesses. But once I became slightly better, I started to think about how the experience of losing my health had changed me. I wanted to prevent others from suffering and having that injustice. When I began my master's in public health, I quickly found peer-reviewed research that showed health studies are linking a rise in autoimmune conditions like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, and type 1 diabetes to air pollution exposure. That's why over 800 health professionals, doctors, nurses, and public health professionals like me came together to start Healthy Climate Wisconsin. We strive to prevent suffering before it occurs so that all of our residents in Wisconsin can live a healthy life. And that's why I'm here today. Simply put, the NTEC gas plant is a bad idea for community health. Air pollution from gas plants, seen from the National Institutes of Health Research, shows that those that live within a zip code with a fossil fuel power plant experience asthma hospitalization rates 11% higher, respiratory infection rates 15% higher, and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD, rates 17% higher than similar zip codes without a fossil fuel plant. NTEC developers claim this plant is part of the route to clean energy, but building a $700 million fossil gas plant that will run for 20 to 50 years is not the path to renewables. Constructing and investing in unionized renewable energy is. The choice between coal or gas is a false one because we have a third option. UW-Madison models have found that not only is locally produced energy feasible, it's possible for our state now, and that transition would create 162,000 high-paying jobs, and it would also reduce $21 billion in health costs each year. But we can't quantify the lives of our loved ones with money. What would you do if you could go back when I asked you about your loved one in the beginning? You can prevent this.
Thank you. Next is Andrew Campo.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, councilors. For the record, that guy reopens the Palace Bar. I'm going. Also, for the record, when we started talking about NTEC, I weighed 200 pounds and a full head of hair. So my name is Andrew Campo, 7578 Swan Lake Road, Culver, Minnesota. I am the business manager of Local 11, representing over 800 United Association members in the pipe fitting, plumbing, and HVAC service industry. I'm also an executive board member of the Wisconsin Pipe Trades Association, representing thousands of UA members across the state of Wisconsin. For the record, Local 11 has been around for 135 years. Our members have been working in our industry since before 1889. Usually it's pretty easy for me to find something to say at meetings like this, as it is typically specific concerns that the elected officials I work with have about a project. What this has turned into, though, is a campaign against a project that has more information and disinformation that is starting to resemble a Trump for president campaign. It has left me wondering, where do I even start? I guess I would like to start by clearing up one of the biggest lies I've heard, and that is that this project will only create temporary jobs. Webster Dictionary defines temporary as lasting for a limited time. The fact is, everything in life could be looked at as temporary. But again, construction careers are continuously referred to as temporary. The word career is defined by the Webster Dictionary as a profession for which one trains and which is undertaken as a permanent calling. That definition is much more fitting for our members than temporary. Our members must complete a stringent 5-year apprenticeship program, attaining multiple state and federal licenses in the process. After their apprenticeship is completed, they must continue to train yearly on code changes that affect our industry to keep those licenses and certifications. They have to continue to train throughout their careers to stay on the cutting edge of the technology in our industry. I would venture to say that the individuals that have referred to our members' careers as temporary have not been required to complete the requisites that our members have for their temporary jobs. Our members are the ones that buy houses in our communities. They send their children to public schools and colleges. They buy vehicles and spend their hard-earned money at our grocery stores. They pay their taxes and hopefully someday retire with dignity because of the benefits they earn throughout an entire career of working temporary jobs.
30 seconds, please.
The unionized construction industry is one of the last industries that individuals earn retirement benefits through a defined benefit plan. I'm going to skip ahead. At the end of the day, our unions wouldn't exist without projects like NTEC. We could have all the collective bargaining rights in the world. If our members have no projects to go to work on, they cannot make a living. 100% of zero is still zero, and that's what we will have without good projects for our members to go to. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Olson is next.
All right. I'm going to try and lighten this up a little bit because I want to respect everybody's time and the comments that they've made. So mayor, councilors, everybody in this audience, I got to describe what I am, and I'm a snowflake. I'm the chair of that Twin Ports Construction Alliance, where there's only about 2 of us in this room know how much money was spent, and that's my treasurer and myself. Roger Reinhardt said he'd take this plant any day of the week. He's a friend of mine. Said Gary Nudeluth is wide open, and they just cleaned up Lake Superior, so you guys can take that where you want it. I'm also a 48-year part-time construction worker. You all know that. I've lived in South Superior all my life. Somebody asked me how long I lived there, and it was a reporter, and I said 67 years. So I've got a little stock in this community, and I've got a little bit of what I think is some knowledge in this. What I'm disappointed in is the misinformation that's going out. What I'm disappointed in is the way that some of this permitting is going on. I'm disappointed in not getting an answer when I asked a question about what's going on with the wet weatherization optimization program that was implemented in 2009 and now appears to be on hold because it's in engineering and something else. But the city has spent $200,000 on this. And I'm also aware that when we first started talking about that this change would eliminate overflows. DNR don't like overflows. You all know that. I sat on these committees with some of you. So if we're not going to do that optimization program and allow for NTEC to build and be able to handle the water flow that's got to go into the water treatment plant, you're doing the city a disservice. You're doing the community. You're doing your friends and neighbors and everybody that's sitting here talking. Somebody else said something about the 11% decrease in property values. For you people on the Plan Commission, I will have a real estate agent from the city of Superior tomorrow to tell you that that is not true. So I, along with, I think you guys know that Derek works for me.
30 seconds, please.
I want you all to know that we're thinking very hard about this, and there's no disrespect to anybody, but the pollution stuff and the sky is falling stuff is a lot of speculation, and you know it. I want you to think about that stuff, do your own research, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Pam Savoy is next.
Good evening. My name is Pam Savoy. My husband and I currently live within 1 mile of the Enbridge Pipeline and Cenovus Oil Refinery. I grew up in the east end of Superior within 3/4 of a mile from the Superior Oil Refinery. We could see and smell the emissions as we played outdoors. The refinery was just a part of the neighborhood landscape, and we were oblivious to the negative health impacts it could cause. Upon driving home from the city council meeting last week, I noticed the familiar scent of the Cenovus oil refinery, a smell that had been absent since the refinery shut down in 2018. My drive home prompted questions about how much our air quality most likely improved over the 5 years that the refinery was shut down. Who would have that information? In my search to find air quality data, I discovered that there are no government agencies monitoring the air quality in Superior. They do ambient air monitoring. We are home to the only oil refinery in the state, and yet no one is monitoring our air quality. Our city has been shouldering the burdens of air pollutants as well as the harrowing experiences of explosion and fire at our oil refinery. What will happen when ENTEC begins production and those emissions mix together in the air with the emissions of the oil refinery? What health threats could those cumulative emissions produce? The proposed ENTEC project has made me more aware and concerned about the air quality in Superior. I would like to see a plan in place to begin monitoring our city air quality trends immediately so that we have a baseline of data to compare to if ENTEC is allowed to begin operations here. As I mentioned earlier, my husband and I live within 1 mile of the Enbridge pipeline and Cenovus Energy oil refinery. In 1990, we built our home on Shardy Drive, which is south of the Nemadji Golf Course. Despite the high tax rates we knew we would be paying,
30 seconds, please.
We chose this location. We felt that the large lot and country-like surroundings were worth the taxes paid. If the ENTEC project moves forward, we will have an oil refinery within 1 mile to the north of our home, a gas-fired power plant 1 mile to the east. With the addition of ENTEC and its health and environmental impacts, my husband and I feel that our large lot, country-like surroundings will
That
no
is
longer
3
be
minutes.
desirable.
That is 3 minutes. Thank you. Kyle Bukovic is next.
Good evening. It's come to our attention that certain elected officials are intimidating some of you into either abstaining or voting no on ENTEC with fear of retaliation to either your business, political campaign, or making sure that your constituents' needs will not be addressed. The Northern Wisconsin Building and Construction Trades strongly opposes these hostile, intimidating tactics. The affiliates of the building trades deal with these types of environments on a regular basis. We know the fear you're experiencing and the feeling as if you're trapped. Please note that the building trades will stand with you to expose these actions that have led to numerous city staff, city officials, and city employees who were forced to retire early or quit due to intimidation and the hostile environments these officials created. You are not alone. We ask that you stand up and oppose this unlawful and unethical treatment that has gone on far too long, not only for you, but to all city employees that feel like they need to walk on eggshells in fear of losing their jobs, including department heads. This is not right. This will not be tolerated. We will work diligently to expose these officials for who they really are, fear-mongering, corrupt, and extortive officials. City officials, city employees, elected officials, and Superior residents deserve an environment free of hostility and intimidation to express their concerns, views, and beliefs without fear of retaliation in any way, shape, or form. Now is the time to stand up to these officials who have created a vision with our city for their own political agenda and not for the benefit of the people who elected them. The division, hostility, and intimidation practices have clearly come to light over the past year. You deserve better. Superior deserves better. Thank you.
Thank you. Lynn Wolwind is next.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Wolwind. I grew up in South End, and I live there now. I have been an educator for 12 years, and I'm a member of Neighbors Against ENTEC. I am adamantly opposed to this project. We have heard reasons for and against this gas plant, but I want to bring the focus back onto the Superior residents, the people who will bear the brunt of this toxic pollution for 40 years. And I ask you, each of you tonight, what right do you have to increase someone's risk of cancer or heart disease? What right do you have, the people voting for this, to make a child miss school again and again due to asthma and respiratory illness? What right do you have to sell out the future children of this city who are not even yet born? I'll tell you, you may have the right to vote for this soon, but you will never have the moral right to vote for this project. We, the citizens of Superior, your constituents, are not yours to sacrifice. We are not your pawns forced to live in declining health and environments. This gas plant will favor a very few who will get jobs over the very many who will be harmed. The question before you with NTEC is simple. You can let NTEC try to muddy the waters, try to claim that solar is unreliable and that somehow it will cause more harm in the face of decades of research that says otherwise. But here's the good thing. You do not have to solve the climate crisis, the energy conundrum, not here in this council. You do not need to ask yourself, what you need to ask yourself is this. Is this right for the thousands of people in my town? Is this right to make citizens suffer for the profits of big energy companies? Is it right to favor the few at the expense of so many? It is not on the poor, it is not on the working class, the children and the elderly to bear the brunt of this pollution for another town, for the wealthy, for those people who sit in their homes outside the 3-mile safety zone and say, let those people make the sacrifice. Their health doesn't mean much to us. Your vote on this matter will tell citizens exactly what you think of their lives. Do the right thing. Vote against NTEC. And vote for the citizens of this town. Thank you.
Thank you. I have just two more people signed up. Ian Fontaine. Last call for Ian Fontaine. Okay, if Ian Fontaine's here, come towards the mic. I'm going to call on Rebecca Kelleher next. Please. Just a minute, Mr. Fontaine. I'll call on you next.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Kelleher, co-founder of Neighbors Against NTEC. I'm going to tell you a personal story tonight. I grew up in Cottage Grove, Minnesota, down near the Twin Cities with my 3 brothers. My parents moved there in 1970. This is the town where the 3M plant is located. We did not know that they were poisoning our drinking water with toxins. My parents didn't know that. 3M knew it. My brother died of prostate cancer 3 years ago, the same cancer that the 3M workers were dying of, the same cancer that there is a higher incident rate of with this PFAS toxins, the forever toxins. My brother left Cottage Grove and took the toxins with him in his body. My 80-year-old parents cared for him the last months of his life in his childhood bedroom. If my parents were here tonight talking to you, they would tell you there is no greater pain for a parent than to watch their child suffer, knowing that they put their children to live in a city full of toxins. My parents didn't know about the toxins, but if you bring this gas plant into the city, you will know. You know we already have pollution here from industry. Our air isn't tested. Common sense says you don't add a gas plant to that. The Environmental Protection Agency states that even when standard air emissions are met, the elderly, the sick, and the young might still suffer health effects. That's your children, your parents, and that could be you. A higher incidence doesn't mean that everyone will get sick, but there will be some in this town that will get sick. You just don't know who it's going to be. You'll never know for sure if your child is struggling to breathe, if the polluted air in this city caused it. Your children will never know for sure if their parent dies from heart or lung disease, if it happened earlier than it would have and took them away from them and your grandchildren. You'll never know for sure if your baby has a low birth rate or your child has cognitive issues if the polluted air in this city caused it. Toxins are real, they kill, they cause disease, they can cause deep pain in families. It doesn't matter if you think it's doomsday talking or if you don't believe in them. Toxins get in their body. They don't care what you think.
Please.
They're going to do it. I don't know how any city councilor could vote for this plant and drive past our elementary schools afterwards, knowing what your vote did to generations of children in this city. And as a parent with this plant here, how could you not wonder when your kids go out to play what kind of particulate matter that they're taking into their lungs? But it's not too late. The plant's not here yet.
That is 3 minutes. Thank you.
You can still stand up and protect your children and your families.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Fontaine.
Hi there. I'm a first-year apprentice with the Ironworkers Local 512, and this career change has been life-changing for me. And this power plant could bring a lot of jobs to this place, but much like every other aspect in the political spectrum these days, I notice everything is people get caught up in the dogma. They think we can't make a power plant without also being environmentally conscious, and we can't be environmentally conscious without also, or with not making the power plant. But my point is we can do both, and I hope people can think of that. And there's a lot at stake, and that's all I have to say. So thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak in public comment? Would anybody else like to speak? If not, councilors, I will remind you that our next meeting is not on Tuesday, but on Wednesday. I'm sorry. One more that wants to speak? Please.
Hello, councilors and Mayor Payne. My name is Randy Nevela, and I live in East End, very near to the NTEC site. My daughter couldn't be here today, but she wants me to read to you what we collaborated on. It's about the decision before you on NTEC. She is also a citizen of Superior. What if the power plant was built in your backyard? What if it was the backyard of your grandmother or grandfather, mom or dad, child, grandchild, sister, brother, best friend, or other loved ones? What if they had health problems and had trouble breathing? Would you still advocate for it? Or would you search your soul and come to appreciate that your loved one's health and quality of living are most important and would be negatively affected and compromised for the next 40 years, perhaps even for the rest of their time here on earth when it comes to your older loved ones? That is what the citizens of the neighborhoods surrounding the proposed power plant and throughout the city are fighting for, our right to a superior quality of life. Please vote no to NTEC. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak? Anybody else like to address the council? Councilors, our next meeting will not be Tuesday, April 2nd due to the spring election. We will meet the following day on Wednesday, April 3rd at 6:30 p.m. We have no further business and are adjourned. Good evening.